Okay, guys, my name is DrSharnael Wolverton-Sehon. I am with Swiftfire. I have a few things to share today. It's a lot of information, but let's see, water, making a note while you guys are getting on. I'm going to make a couple notes. Decree on water. A lot to unpack here and a lot to share. So I hope that you guys are fastening your seatbelts and getting a notebook and some paper and getting ready to take notes. Please tag and share right now as many people as possible while we get on the subject of resonance, of the biofield, of consciousness, of shifting and transmuting old stupid patterns into really good, awesome, miraculous patterns. We are in an awesome season of shift right now with all the different things going on in the planets in this time of year because, hey, Lisa and Rose and Brenda and Jessica and all you guys, I'm so glad you're here. We're coming up on Yom Kippur here. Tomorrow night at sundown is an awesome time for change and shift in the new year. For those who choose, I'm already fasting, and I hope you guys are going to be fasting too. But let's talk about some things because I know that a lot of you guys are on this specific call or Zoom or whatever you want to call it tonight because you're ready for your own shift, to get your own patterns, your own new patterns, and your own shift so you can start seeing some different results. Anybody? Is there anybody out there who is ready for some new positive results in your lane, in your life, in your marriage, in your family, in your business? Anybody? Is there one or two of you guys out there? So hopefully you know somebody that also is really requires this information. I hope you will share and tag. I'm going to be giving a giveaway, a free sage, which I don't know where my sage is. Hold on. I'm going to give away 2 of these actually. By the way, do you like my shirt? I got it for my birthday. Yay, Wonder Woman. I'm going to give away 2 of these, one for this specific call or class tonight, and also one for the previous, which I did earlier. I will announce that winner in a little bit. So we're going to talk about resonance, recoding, and how to actually jump into this new place that we're at in this new season that we're at. Let's talk about the definition first of resonance. The word resonance. Resonance is resonata, which is an echo, a reverberation, to resonate, to sound, and have frequency. I think in the past, we have been taught in this Western world to hear sound, when actually sound is not only heard, but it's felt. And for some people, it can be seen. For those who are awake and have the different giftings, sound can be seen in colors and in equations and in symbols. And so if you look in the animal world too, like thought can be heard even by dolphins. It's a different frequency that they can hear on a different level than we can. So when I talk about the different senses, and we're talking about sound or resonance right now, and the law of resonance, I want you to understand that we can retrain our thoughts and start to think on a different way of like, oh, well, sound is felt. Think about a speaker. Like if you were listening to something and you had it hooked up to a speaker and you put your hand on it, there is a vibration or a sound to that. You can actually not just feel it and not just hear it, but it can actually travel up to your hands and you can feel it with it reverberating and that frequency, that vibration in your body. We are taught though to that it's heard, and I want to get you to the image of thinking that it can be felt, because you're using all your senses way more than you think you are. A lot of times we've made understandings or thinking about like or just phrases where we said, oh yeah, well that resonates, where I hear you, or I feel you, or yeah, that resonates, or no, that doesn't sound good. We're not actually hearing something, although we are, but we're also feeling it and we're expressing our like or dislike about the way it feels. Like we use our feeling world and our feeling of vibrations way more than we just hear things. It also, I want to give you the picture too of John in scriptures. John was there all the way to the end with Jesus, and they were the closest, and he was the only one there when he was at the cross. And think about John, he actually put his ear on the chest of God, consciousness of Christ. And think about that with the frequency of sound on a speaker again. He didn't want to just hear the heartbeat. He wanted to become the heartbeat. And when we can tap into God full on love and put our, remember that he's within us, because the kingdom of God is within, then we can remember fully and be reminded and remember in our hearts that he is fully in us already, and that this is what it's going out. Sound is big. And so we have to remember and remind that the kingdom of God is within, and as we remember that and recode that, then we become the sound. So let's talk about a few things here having to do with sound and resonance frequency. Let's maybe take some notes here. Number one, we build or structure our field, our biofield, in a language or a speech of thought, feeling, and words, and also deep beliefs. So what I mean by that is you have a heart. Your heart is the most electric thing in your body. We're all electric, and this is very, very the most electric. And whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're talking about, and whatever your deep belief systems create a code or a language or a sound or a frequency that come out of your heart and go into your biofield. So the language or the speech of sound is thoughts, speech, feelings, which are trump, and deep belief systems. And so write those things down. So that's number one. We build or structure our sound and our field, our language of our field, by those four things. Number two, that message is sent from the heart, as I said, because it's the most high frequency thing in our body. Yes, we can send out frequency with our mouth, but the highest one is with our heart. And you don't even have to talk when you're around other people. Sometimes people can pick up your field. It's tangible. You can feel it. Number three, there's no time and space in this law of resonance. It can be, you guys can feel me all the way out there in Facebook land or YouTube land or wherever you are, just as much as you could feel me if you were right here. Now, of course, the closer in space, whatever space is and time is, then yeah, you're going to feel it more. But for those of you who are awake, you can understand and feel that there's no time and distance. I can think something and my husband miles away can already have an answer and send it back to me. There's another language that is faster than the speed of light of just what we're thinking and what we're feeling, and sending out that code and that message out for someone to be heard, or for you to be heard. Number four, so there's no time and space. Number four, anything that taps into your field, into that resonance field, cannot help to respond or to react. One way or another, it's going to respond or react. So let's look at response. When I think of the word response, I'm thinking of if you have a medicine that is healing, there is a good response. There is a healing response. There is harmony. There is unity. There is love. When there's a reactive response, then you have to, what do you think about? Chaotic, usually uncontrolled, triggered, it could be emotional. And so people can either come into your resonance and they can feel the harmony. If you're Trump and you have a higher frequency, which is love, God, love is the highest frequency of all, or they can have a trigger response based on whatever you're feeling and whatever they're feeling, and you guys can actually bump into each other. So number four, anything that taps into your field, whether it's in this 15 inches or not, is either going to respond or react. That's just a fact. Number five, let's look at this. Likewise, everyone that comes to you is something that came to you because you drew it in. You actually created it. You only get what you are. And so everything that you are, you get. You get a match to anything that you're feeling, thinking, and talking about, it comes. And if there is the unity or union of deep beliefs, what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're feeling, that's the witness of where all of those things witness each other and have a higher sound frequency that come back to you faster because that alignment is there. And so that's why a lot of times people will say something but they don't do something, or they'll think about it but their mouth is talking about something else, or they say they love someone but they're feeling like they don't love someone. There's a discord in that witness, and then people can pick that up and they say, oh, well, she's not aligned, or she's flaky, or, you know, she's a lot of talk but no action, or just something's off. I can't put my finger on it, but it just feels less than congruent. So being congruent is really important. And so number 5, everything that comes to you, you actually brought to you. You magnetize what you are. Number 6, we are drawn to people that resonate with us. That's another thing you need to understand with resonance. You're actually drawn to people, good or bad, that you resonate or oscillate with. So birds of a feather flock together. You know, that's why people find their tribe or whatever, you know, different ways to say it. But we're not only drawing people to us, but we are actually drawn to people that we oscillate with or we sound like. Number 7, good, bad, and ugly, we resonate. And we create our world. Whatever we are, we get back. And so that's really, really important to remember. So what that means is if something shows up in your world that you don't like, then you have to look inward and go, what is it in me that actually created that to come to me? And that's really, really important, because the scripture is talking about seeing in part, or to see in a dim mirror. But we want to see the fullness. We want to see all of God. We want to see love, life, miracles, provision, and all those things. And when we are incongruent and we are bringing incongruency in and drawing that into us, whether it's people, health, bad relationships, whatever it is, we have to look on the inside and say, okay, what is it about me that doesn't like me, that keeps creating other people to come to me that also don't like me? Do you get it? When I am love and I remember love fully and I stay, then I create love to come to me and to match that. When I am miracles, and when I'm peace, and when I'm harmony, that vibration goes out. And people will either resonate with that and feel it, and they'll be entangled in it. And if you're a higher frequency, you'll bring them in like a tuning fork. Or someone can tune you in. And even if it's 1% of you that's off, and you go attract that into you, then you can actually resonate into a higher place or a lower place. So anyway, let's look at the actual definition of resonate. It is a condition in which an electrical current, us, you, produces the largest possible response to an amplified oscillating signal. We are sending out signals. We are electric and we are sending out signals. Consider you a big, huge satellite where you're receiving and you are giving out all the time. In mechanics, the condition or the object or system is subjected to oscillating force with some sort of frequency that's close to or the same as their natural frequency, meaning you will collect people like a supernova. If you've ever studied a supernova will magnetize things in and it pushes out things. It's taking things in, it's pushing things out, and it's connected to a higher source. So we're all connected to some other source, hopefully God. And as we're connecting with that, we're spitting out things and we're taking things in. Constantly, energetically, there's that constant movement. So what has resonance? Let's look at something that has resonance. Number 1, us. Number 2, animals. Number 3, plants. Number 4, objects. Actually, objects including rocks and old furniture, things that have matter. Anything that has matter can actually have a sound or resonate. That's why if we can tap into the sound of the wall, we can walk through the wall. That's why Jesus could walk on water. He tapped into the sound of what that was, and he was able to step onto that. going into the whole crystal world, you can actually clear and cleanse a crystal, which has its own code anyway, whether it's from where it came from, or if someone put some intention in there, you can actually clear and cleanse it. There's some rocks and some crystals that have different code or frequency already, just as a normal thing, and you can clear it and you can put your own intention in it, and then this can hold space for you, and you can have it in your house or whatever, and it could be something energetically that holds space for whatever code you're trying to remember and recode. So there's upgrades in that, and essential oils, of course, has code and frequency, so there's lots of that. The late David Van Covering, who I traveled with, and he's a great physicist, he was actually, for a long time, felt this call to create an invention that would actually, where you can actually pick up, like, let's say, an earring off of a dead lady who was killed in a crime scene, and put it on an object, and that the object would tell the story, kind of like if these walls could talk, if these walls could talk, kind of thing, where he could take out, whatever was in the crime scene or whatever was in the situation, the curtains on the hotel wall or whatever, and go, what's the story? What's been going on in here? And that this invention would create and tell stories. And the scriptures talk about if these rocks the rocks will cry out or whatever. Apparently in Montana is one of the few places in the United States where actually the rocks sing. They've encountered that. So, but did David pass away? Do I know if he actually made that invention? I'm not really sure. Maybe one of you know if he actually fulfilled that call, but he really felt like he would create something. If you're thinking about things too, like think in the past, who came up with the fact that we can have radio or record players? One day all of a sudden we have this record player, and it's this round thing, and you stick it on the deal and you put on the needle, and guess what? Sound comes out, and it's like, oh, that's an object, and now sound is coming out of that we can all hear and tune into. Pretty weird. Same with the radio, and now it's gotten even more technology of like MP3s and downloads and radio waves, and tuning into the right thing for you to be able to tune in and hear what the sound is resonating from those objects. So objects definitely have sound. Animals have a much higher sense of hearing and feeling than we do. That's why we have guard dogs and different things when people come over. If you've ever had an animal, anybody got an animal out there? I have just a few. But when people come over, you could tell that some people just are drawn. Some animals are drawn to certain people, and other animals are like, I'm out of here. And some animals are like angry and react just like we do. We feel all those things. We may not necessarily communicate that, or even be aware that we're feeling what we're feeling, or hearing what we're feeling, or being exposed to their field to put it into words. But I'm asking you to be more aware of other people's fields and what's going on and what your field is putting out, because the scripture that's coming to mind is guard your heart, because it's a wellspring of life. And when I've looked at that scripture before in the past, I thought that it meant, whether it was from my own experience or my own trigger or the way it was taught to me, or just my protection programming. When I thought of guard your heart, to me, I envisioned me guarding my heart, like protecting it, feeling like I better keep this protected because something might get me from the outside in. When really that scripture talks about, hey, be aware. It's actually the translation says be aware of what you're putting out in your heart, because it's a wellspring. And because God, who created the law of attraction, is saying, hey, whatever you put out, you're going to get back. And I love you so much, and I want for you to get good stuff back. So let's put good stuff out, because you only get a match, and then it comes back to you. And I really choose for all of you to have good things come back to you on a regular basis, and for you to teach that to your kids, your family, your businesses, your neighborhood, your communities, because if we can all shift everyone that we can shift on a conscious level, we can actually have a big, enormous shift on the planet and create a whole different time and season for us. And so it's really, really important. Let's see, what does this have to do with you? Let's talk about some of those things. Are you guys with me? Are you here? Or I choose feedback. Like, are we This is you and your biofield. Look, see? Happy, music, code, love. This is your field. And this is your heart creating some really cool things in your field. So we want this to be so full. And like when I talked about last week on frequency hopping, Hetty, what is her name? Jesus, God, I'm God's mind remembering. Hetty Lamar created the ability for submarines to have an invention where they can like not just hit and maybe hit something, by guesstimation, but she found out that if you had this certain invention that she created, that you could actually lock in to the sound of the enemy's submarines, and you could get this direct hit even if they move, because it was connected to the sound and the frequency of that, and it would hit and it would blow it up. I'm not encouraging war. I'm just saying they were spending a lot of money and weapons and missing and ammunition and missing and not having the great target practice thing going on. So when she made this new invention, it was you always hit the mark. You hit the mark, you hit the mark, you hit the mark. And what happened is everyone found out this information, so everyone began to do that. And then everyone was hitting perfectly. So then she came up with a new whole thing altogether, which was to frequency hop. And frequency hopping had to do with changing the channels constantly and changing the sound constantly around whatever weapon it was, whether it's, in this case, a submarine. And so no one could lock in to one sound. No one could lock into one frequency. No one could resonate to oscillate towards that, or to be drawn towards that, or to bring that in. And so she created this new thing, and guess what? It was like a shield all around the submarine, and it hopped. And guess what? We were hidden. It was so scrambled that we were hidden, and no one could find that submarine, and we were, doing better. So it's the same thing with you. When you have code going out, if you can remember the I am and who God is the biggest code ever. Love is the biggest code ever. And when we remember all the names of God, think of who He is. He is provision. He is peace. He's strength. He's love. He's joy. He's power. He's might. He's rest. He's balance. He's all these things. Well, guess what? There's a code to every single one of those things. And so when you are love and you remember God in you, and the kingdom of God is within, which is God in you, and you remember all the names of God, who is love, those are a bunch of different frequencies all going out into this biofield. And it's like a frequency hopping thing where other negative or lower vibrations cannot come in, because we have this shield, we have this block, we have this thing going on where this is so full of love and positivity and positive everything that there's not an entrance in. As a matter of fact, you could give your address to the meanest, baddest guy on the planet, and he would not be able to find you, because you would be invisible. You were being covered, protected. It's Psalms 91. So let's look again at why this is important. Okay, what does this mean to you? Well, you have a signature code. I have a signature code. We all have a certain code. Again, that's made up of, what is it? Let's go back. Your language, your realm is made up of thought, feelings, deep beliefs, and what's the other one? Thought, feelings, words, and deep beliefs, right? That's your language. That's your speech. That's your field. That's what you're creating. And so if that is going out and you are even 10% in the negative, then you're actually attracting that to you, which if it does, and when it does, you can look at that and go, okay, what did I do to create that to come to me? And you can look within yourself and go, okay, well, maybe I had a thought of somebody didn't like me, or I didn't like myself, or any kind of self-doubt, or anything less than love, which would be, lack, sickness, all those things. If those are internal things going on, then that sounds out a negative code that goes out. And then guess what? You still get a match. And that match will show up within your body. and that match will show up when other people coming to you to tell you, hey, this is what's going on, or they'll have a reaction, and then that will trigger you. And if you're not awake, that will trigger you, and then you'll withdraw and push back, or have your little thing that goes on, and then there's sometimes a relationship split or whatever, and you're playing this little dance of he doesn't like me, you don't like her, that didn't work, all those things. And so it's really, really important that we, if there's anything going on in us, is that when we see those things coming up, that we can identify it, we can look within, because everything's an inside job, and then we can look at ourselves on the inside and go, hey, this needs to be healed in me, okay? Like, if there's even 1% of you that doesn't love you fully, then it'll show up in your front doorstep. It'll show up on a phone call. It'll show up at work. It'll show up somewhere, and you'll have to go, oh, well, I remember love for me. I remember honor for me. I remember God love inside me now and going out. Therefore, I will only get a match of honor, a match of love, a match of respect, a match of balance, a match of truth, or whatever that is. So you have to look inward to see what's going on. Now, if you are not healed in a specific situation from past issues of your signature, then those unhealed places within your code will actually look for something to connect with, so it can come into you as a gift for you to then go, oh, that still needs to be healed. You get it? Can you guys just tag and share everyone you know right now on this, because we're about to even go deeper here, and I really feel like this is for a lot of different people. If you can please just tag and share. I think it's really important. Let me repeat what I said. If there's anything in you that is not healed, then that will go out looking for a match. It will show up only as a gift to you to look at you in your face and go, hey, this is still here. Remember me? Heal it. It comes up to be dealt with. It comes up to be healed and touched with love. And so when if we can recognize it, if we can recognize, oh yeah, I made that happen, I recommit, I go back to loving me and I stay. And I say I love and I stay because think about Peter, and I use this example all the time. Peter said, Jesus said, who do they say I am? And Peter said, you're the Messiah. And Jesus said, yay, you could only got that by the Holy Spirit. And then like 2 sentences later, he had to say, get behind me, Satan, which he really isn't the real translation. The real translation is, don't have that thought form. Don't think that way. That's not a right way to think. And so interestingly enough, here's Peter. He got it and then he didn't get it. And we can get it and ungot it, and we can stay in this oscillation back and forth period. And that's not necessarily good. Frequency hopping is great. Scrambling is great if it's all the things of God. But if we're oscillating between positive and negative things and insecurities and wounds and things of the past, that is not your highest choice. And so if there are things unhealed, they will look for and attract something to come back to you. And you can think that bad things just always happen to you, cancel. You can think, wow, I have really bad luck and these patterns are terrible, cancel. And you can keep in this loop of trauma to prove that you're right. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, well, I don't like me and I don't love me, cancel. And so therefore I put that out there, and then people start not liking me and not loving me, and then then I feel rejected, and so I reject them, and instead of hearing and seeing this as a gift, and then they reject me, and we just keep rejecting each other, and then I'm right. See, no one likes me, right? And you go through this loop of almost addiction to pain and chaos and self-sabotage, and that is not God. Okay, that's not what we're here for. We're here to stay. We're here to love. We're here to not only be love, but to have the sound of love and to bring love to this planet and beyond. Because this universe deserves God in all the space that we have. And it starts with you inside, being love and remembering love and thinking about love and speaking positivity, being positivity. I'm going to go into some more of that. But let me give you an example. Even if you're, okay, let me slow down. A lot of times people who are not healed will do things to self-sabotage, whether it's like substance abuse or, drugs, alcohol, staying really, really busy, substances or substituting or using people or lying or whatever it is, because they're not healed. And then those things show up, and those are just, that's just a code to all that in itself. And even if you're doing it on the down low, even if you're doing that in secret and it's covert, there's still a frequency to that. And so what that feels like, remember what sound and what that feels like is anything done in a hidden way. When you're out in public and when you're out with other people, people may not physically, tangibly know, hey, she's doing all these things on the down low, or he's doing all these things on the down low, but they can feel, hey, something is not congruent with her. Something is off. Something is off with him. I don't feel trust with him. I don't feel secure with him. He's saying all the right things. He gave me a hug, but something's really off. I'm not really sure. And what that you're picking up on is someone else isn't being congruent. Someone else isn't being true to themselves. And now you've picked up on their lack of truth and their lack of being true and congruent to their own life. They can be in a job they're not supposed to be in. They could be using their time improperly. Whatever it is, if they're not true, if you're not true, if I'm not true, that is a code that still goes out that people pick up and go, I hear what she's saying, but I don't really like it. Or, a used car salesman or something where he's like 24% down and I don't even give this deal to everybody and la 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 la, and they don't even believe what they're saying. No offense to car people. I'm just saying, like, in that kind of salesy, weird, situation where people are trying to manipulate you, have an agenda, or do something because it helps them, it serves them instead of serving love. When you could pick up on that and you could feel that and go, hey, something's off. I'm not sure. Whether it's blatant or whether it's hidden, there is a code to even lying or doing things under the covers or under the shadow of what that stuff is. So being of making sure that you are living true in all the things. Living true is not just, telling the truth. It's living true, being where you're supposed to be, being with the people you're supposed to be, eating the right things, spending the time the way you're supposed to, being in your right job, being in the right relationships, whether it's family, friends, whatever. There's so many. Just go do the things that you're supposed to do. Be true to all of that. When you are true and you're doing those true things, truth comes out. People feel that, and you feel secure. Not only do you feel secure, but other people pick up on your feeling secure, and they feel safe around you. They feel loved. They feel nurtured. You're trusted. And so it's really important that instead of staying in these self-sabotaging, let's pick all these things because it just seems right, or because I've passed up, I've been hurt, and I'm going to do this out of fear or out of insecurity or out of not being able to say no, and all these loops of doing things undercover or doing things on the side or having these exchanges of whatever. It's important to stay true, whatever that is. Does this make sense? I really do choose. This is a new year. Yes, Brenda. And we get an opportunity for new choices. If you're lucky, and when you're lucky, even if you have 1% within you that is true, you will also attract 1% back to you to come to you and tell you, hey, this is what the truth is. And when that happens, you have the choice to either go, hey, I just created her to tell me that, and there must be some truth to this, or why would she come, or why would he come, or whatever the situation is. You can either look at that and you can love it and you can go, yeah, thanks for telling me, and I'm going to make some better choices. Or you can be offended and hurt and back off and just think, oh, well, they just don't like me, or I'm right, or they're self-sabotaging, or whatever. It really honestly depends on who the person is and if they're safe, and you'll be able to feel that. But you will create people to come tell you what's true, because you'll be ready and you'll send some people out with that code to come back and look at you and go, hey, I love you. And so, I know, right? Are you there? Every now and again, you'll get people, because you will not be able to help resonating truth. So truth will come back to you. Love will come back to you. And those are the people that you want to look for. It's like, do you feel it? Put out your little receptors here and go, do. Does that feel like love? Does that feel like security? Does that feel like peace? You know, even if you don't like it at the beginning, is there truth to that? Is there something that I could learn from this? So you have choices to either be offended and jump ship and stay in your cycle of trauma loops of your code, or you can see the truth and you can see it in love and you can make some better choices. Now, if you are not completely healed and you're looking for a process of healing and you are like adamant and you're like really making better choices and you're doing good things, a lot of times what happens is you'll be thrown into an old situation or old people who will have a signature code of something that's old in you for you to be tested on that. And there are people I can name right now that come to my mind right now that I'm not in a place of being completely healed yet to be entangled in that scenario or in that situation, because I know that would be like an entangling hook that's trying to keep my signature code locked into an old program or old code instead of moving on to the new healed choices that I'm making. Does that make sense? And so be aware as you're making new choices and as you're remembering and as you're reminding and as you are being consistent with the new truths that you take and the steps you take to be in those truths, that there will be almost always 1 or 2% of you even that will go out and send out messages to the old folks to come back and go, hey, remember me? Don't you want to stay here? I want you to stay in this program. And those people aren't even aware of what's going on. They may be perfectly loving, amazing people, but maybe they have a code of a situation or an environment or an event that happened with those people, or even a season of trauma that happened when you knew that person, and they'll have a residue code or something that's looking for something, a hook to come into. Does that make sense? So how do you recode? Let's talk about that. I have 2 more things here, and I really gotta speed up. But first of all, okay, wait, you know what? Let me do this. Choose to draw this out for you to give you, let me see if I could turn this around real quick. How do I draw this? Okay, I'm going to do this. Let's see if this works. All right. Okay. So, we have the past. I've never done this on paper, so excuse me. We have the past. We have the present. We have the future. I hope you can read my writing. And we have the future and beyond. Okay? So number 1, we are in A. We're in the present, right? That's where we are, right here. We're in present. And we've been taught the programs that we have in the past, or when we make goals or we're trying to do something different, then we will put all our energy towards being in B. We're in A, but let's try to get in B. Let's do all the things to get to B. Let's look at B. This is the end result for B. B. B is all the energy, all the focus, and that's where you are. So what happens is you put off what they call an offering wave, an offering wave, an energetic offering wave that focuses on B. Well, guess what? If you focus just on B, then you're going to fall short, because an offering wave will go back to anything in the past, which is a negative A, and it'll try to hook in or connect or remember by a memory or whatever code is back here, and go, oh, that really sucked. And, and I can't have money because I'm poor, cancel. Or I can't be successful because remember all those times I wasn't successful? The offering wave goes out, but then it loops back on what they call an echo wave. It goes back to the past, and we think about the past and all the failures or what somebody else may have done in your life that was important to you, your parents or whatever, and they messed up. Maybe their marriage didn't go, or maybe they lost their job or whatever. And so you do an offering wave regarding the future B, because that's what we're programmed to, but then an echo wave goes back and looks at this and it goes, oh. And so we either stay right here or maybe even come lower, but that sound is really, really low. Does that make sense? You guys with me? I hope you're here. I hope you're here. Anybody here? What I'm asking you to do is number 2. We're here. I don't want you to connect with B here. I want you to bypass B. We're not even looking at the future. We're looking at beyond the future, which is B plus and beyond. Beyond future. Beyond future. See? I hope you can see this. We're here, and I'm asking you not to connect with the frequency of B at all. I'm asking you to connect with the future connection, which is it's already happened. Because in your brain, if you can be here, but remember and ask your question, well, now that this has already happened, what's new and different for me? And we can connect with, well, now that I am Royal Crown Diamond, what am I doing? Or now that I am pregnant, what am I doing? And now that I have a family and the new house paid for, what am I doing? What's new and different for me? And we can connect to the frequency and sound of it already happening. Your brain, your limbic system cannot tell the difference between fantasy and reality. And so we send out this offering wave, and it goes out and beyond, and you connect with this really, really high frequency of it already happening. The echo wave goes back. If you're not healed, guess what? You lose sound. You lose momentum. You still lose. And you may get a little bit higher, but because of this negative in proportion to here, you get a little bit more pluses, but then you go back and look at the old past and you still miss. Okay, so that's the second one. Now, number 3, okay? This is the most positive way we could do it here. If you're A, we're not going to just look at the future, but we're going to connect with, well, now that the future's already happened, now that we already are debt-free, and now that we already are our miracle, our healing body, now that we are in the beyond, and this is all healed because we've concentrated on all this being healing, then this isn't exist anymore. So we put an offering wave out. It goes not just to B, because B doesn't exist. It already happened. It goes out here, and it connects with the truth of it happening, truth happening now. The echo wave goes back. Echo wave goes back. And there's nothing to connect with in the past. And there's no people of the past or no events or situations to go past here. Guess what? It just goes back to here where you're standing firm in A, looking at past B. And guess what? That gives you a long throw. That gives you way out here. That your limbic system goes, oh, this already happened. And your brain starts creating code and wavelengths and creation to now that it's already happened, what's new and different for me. The code goes out like a magnet, and then it goes out, 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 and it has to come back to you as it happened. You start attracting people, opportunities, jobs, whatever it is, to come back to you, and then you're here. You get it? It already happened. So as long as you can stay here, but again, we've been programmed to just have goals. I hope that I can, get that job, or I hope I can get married, or I hope I can have that baby, or I hope I can get debt free one day. But we're not thinking about, well, when I do, what's new and different for me? When I do, now that it's already happened, what's new and different for me? That code. And unfortunately, because this stuff isn't healed, if the echo wave goes back, we lose momentum and it gets lower. So we're at a low frequency that doesn't make it happen. It doesn't connect. But when we are here and we have healed this, and we're not even looking at this, the scriptures say, don't look at what's behind you. Don't look at what's beside you. This is what's beside you. look at the mark. Look at the mark and beyond. This is when we do this. We go out here, and now that I'm already in my job that I love, now that I'm already perfectly healed, now that my children are secure, now that I have, my orphanage, or now that I am whatever, you fill in the blank of what your thing is. When you have this and beyond, then that goes back. There's nothing to connect with in the past. There's no people to connect with to bring it down. Only you staying and looking out here, and that sound stays, and it resonates, and it connects because it becomes a match. Does that make sense? Does anybody with me? Can I high five you right now? High five everybody. Okay, I've never shared that with anybody on the planet. I hope that's helpful. So I got a couple more things here. Anybody with me? Do we got it? Are you sharing and tagging? Because this is sharing and taggable stuff right here. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's finish up here. So we know how to get there. We know why we're where we're at. We know how to get there. We know a little bit more. Are you guys learning anything? Now let's talk about how to recode, how to get rid of, how to heal negative A, how do we heal the past so there's nothing for them to get ground from and connect with. How do we do that? Let's look at number 1. Let's write this down. Decrees. I am the ascended Jesus Christ, permanent light, love, and victory already attained in my marriage, in my business, in my ministry, in my children, in my home, in my finances. I say I am the ascended Jesus Christ's permanent, because I want to stay, light, love, and victory already attained in my, you fill it out. Only God touches me. Only God sees me. God is the only power and presence acting to me, through me, in me, and around me. I am love and I stay. God is the only power and presence acting to me, through me, in me, and around me. Those are decrees that have sound, that have an echo, that have a frequency that go out past B and go out of my heart, and people can tangibly pick up on them, and it shifts my chemistry, it shifts my limbic system, it shifts my brain waves, and it can affect everybody around me in my biocode, because when people come in my biofield, remember, they're either going to react or respond. And if I am that I am, and I remember God in me is fully here, and then it's the kingdom of God is within and it's coming out, then we are connecting with people to come to us that are miraculous, helpful, supportive, honoring, respectful, peaceful, in unity, that give, all those things that God is, we keep getting. And then there's just this evolution of and momentum of God love in our arenas. So decrees are huge. Conscious language is huge. Paying attention, because everything that you speak, whether it's literal or by accident, conscious or unconscious, you're creating one way or another. So it's really, really important. I put Post-it notes all over. I write on my hands. I have different things, even as anchors, to help me remember who I am and to just have those decrees. So number 1, decrees. Number 2, what am I saying? Feelings are trump. Pay attention to what you're feeling. And if you feel sad, feel the hell out of that sadness and be okay and accept who you are, because if you accept you unconditionally and you love you, and even if you're sad, just go, you know what? I'm sad, and this is why I'm sad, and be okay with it. Believe me when I tell you that it actually crashes the program. It crashes that space that's holding sadness. If we can identify, hey, I'm feeling this, and own it, and feel whatever that feeling is, then it actually collapses it and gives space for the real thing for another thing that's positive to come in that hole or in that spot. Someone's still calling me. Stop calling me. So, but if we suppress it and push it down, that's where depression comes in. That's where blocks come in. That's where dis-ease comes in. That's where even blocks with other people can come in, because they can pick up that you're blocking. So then they block because they're like, we don't know why we're blocking, but we feel to block. Maybe it's because she's blocking. So when we block and we push down and we suppress, it doesn't mean that those feelings have disappeared. There's still a resonance. There's still a frequency to hate, to sadness, to fear, and that still goes out in the code and you still get it. So it's going to keep coming back to you until you go ahead and feel the crap out of it and squish it and make it go away. So owning it, and and like hate and fear and all those things, yes, it's not godly. And I had a hard time dealing with hate or fear in the past, and because especially if it was towards a family member or a situation, I'd be like, well, I'm not supposed to hate because God's in me, and I'm not supposed to hate, I'm not supposed to have fear because God's in me, and positive vibes and all that stuff. But if it's really truly what you're feeling and you ignore it and you push it down and you suppress it, then it's still going to come out in the code. It's still going to come out in dis-ease. It's still going to come out in weird patterns that will still show up to you because it's a sound. Remember, it's felt. It's not spoken, but it's felt. So if it's not spoken and or expressed, then it will be depressed, but still come out in code and in resonance and in frequency, and people will feel it anyway, and they'll be like, I don't want to be around her. She's depressing. She's angry. She's pissed off. She's this, she's that, and they can or assume it's something else. And then, you're in this spiral again of like, well, she withdrew, so I'm going to withdraw, and everyone's withdrawing. Nobody really knows why, because it's all unspoken, and it's this weird dance. So accept you. Acceptance is huge. There's actually an essential oil that helps you to accept unconditionally loving you. When I realized that I was suppressing things, first of all, that blocked my creativity, to depress or suppress anything will be the opposite of expression, and expression has to come out in some way, whether it's voice, feelings, writing, art, doing your truth, whatever it is. So when you don't feel, because you feel like, well, I shouldn't do that, that's not the Christian thing to do, and you don't feel it, you don't talk about it, you don't express it, it goes down, it comes back, and it keeps showing up because it's like, you love you so much that you're going to keep creating it to come back at you until you squish it, because it's not meant to be there. So you'll be a gift to yourself to keep recreating the patterns and the disease or whatever that's going on, because it wants to be loved. It wants to be touched. It wants to be squished. So there's more space for him. There's more space for all of what we are. Does that make sense? Yes. Acceptance oil. When I was denying myself of those feelings, I realized that was not love towards me. I was putting a condition on my own love for me. And when you have conditional love, that's not cool. You have to have unconditional love for you, especially. So acceptance oil, surrender oil, all of those things. Cypress is a big one to help kind of move out trauma life. Sarah. Lots of those things are on purpose for you to be able to kind of move out of whatever the old is and get into a new code, a new frequency. So feel your feelings. Be okay with it. Number 3, so number 1, decrees. Number 2, feel your feelings. Please tag and share. Did I say that? Because I know this is long, but it's so worth it. I'm almost done. Nature. Let's talk about nature. Nature, did you know nature has code? Everything in nature has code. Just like water, if any of you've studied Dr. What's his name? Anyway, that guy, the water guy, the messages in the water guy. He passed away the same day Bob Jones did. And he studied water, and water, as you know, creates these sacred geometry type things, and water, nature holds a lot of water, just like we hold a lot of water, which holds a lot of code and holds a lot of resonance, holds a lot of sound. And so the sun, why is the government telling us to stay out of the sun? Because it's good for you? Yeah, the chemicals on your body aren't really good with the sun. So, stay pure and clear and don't put those chemicals on, and the perfumes and the shampoos and the soaps and all that is not a good mixture with the sun. But the sun itself has code and frequency, and it's ancient. It's been around a long time. It has messages for you. When we can sit in the sun, even 15, 20 minutes a day, not only are we getting D, but we're getting messages, we're getting downloads, we're connecting with ancient things of messages that are being given to us through code in the sun. You don't have to believe me. I'm just saying. Plants have messages. Of course, you can get them in essential oils. There's frequency to each and every one of these, and just like crystals, some of them have very specific purposes. When Gary made some of the blends, he made them out of dreams and visions, because there are certain things that go together that can unlock and decode and uproot and kind of like move around things that have been sitting there for a long, long time that actually need to be shoved out and pushed out. And by the way, tears, when going back to feelings, when you cry, there are some things that you cannot detox any other way except for crying. Do you hear me? So please give yourself permission to cry and to let that out, because no matter how many colonics, juicing, and whatever you do, there are some things that will not come out any other way but tears. And if you suppress your tears, they will not detox. You will not detox. They will not come out. So decrees, feeling your feelings, crying. Number 3, nature. Okay, we talk about the sun, we talk about plants, we talk about oils, the earth and grounding. You know, the soil has code. Sand has code. Fire has code. Waves, waves of the ocean have code. There's a sound and a consciousness to all the things of nature. The more we can be in nature, the more we can recode and get out of whatever's going on in the electrical world that's tried to like manipulate or shift up or keep us suppressed in expressing, or all the programs of television and electronics and everything that's tried to keep us in these old codes. But you can get on the sand next to the ocean for 30 minutes and completely rebalance your brain waves, your frequency, your code. It regenerates all the positive ions that have been going on from electronics and gives you a very rich negative ionic force, so you can recode. And so like all of this stuff, nature is very important. Flowers, I like to have fresh plants and flowers and things that are beautiful. That are just really, really important to do that. Number 4, let's talk about crystals. Crystals, again, we mentioned this a little bit. Some crystals are made to do specific things more than others. Make sure and clear and cleanse them. You can charge them with the sun. You can charge them with the beach. You can charge them with the moon. The reason why is because there's coded messages and all that. And then you want to set your intentions in that. So this can hold a sound. So it's kind of like a Post-it note, but it holds something, or a song and a music in the background, which is a good point. Let me write that down. It all has code. And so you may not be thinking it, but if this is holding space for you with that same intention, then it's just like oils, it's holding a frequency of whatever it is. So whenever I cleanse and clear, and sometimes I just cleanse, but I'll clear, then I will put my intention in it saying, I remember love, I remember my God healing, I remember my great relationships, I remember my provision, whatever it is. And you have a few of these around the house that are holding that intention. And so when you see it, it's like an anchor going, oh, I remember that one's about this or this. Or you may hold it because it has resonance or whatever. But, and biblically looking at it, the priests all had them in their suits. Please do look at scriptures with that. I have a ton of different scriptures on that. That's a whole different class. But crystals have a huge role. They've been in the earth. They carry a lot, and they can pick up a lot. So you can have stuff that you definitely need to clear because it may have resonance, a residue of an old code on there that you need to clear or cleanse. But then you put your code in it, and then it stays. So let's talk about water. Drinking water. This is probably, choose to know. This is not my best one. And you guys, please hold me accountable. Can you do me a favor every now and then just go, Charnel, did you drink your water today? Did you drink your water today? Are you drinking your water? Are you drinking your water? Did you drink your water? Are you drinking your water? Because for me, in the past, water has not been my thing. But water is very spiritual. Water equals feelings. Water equals detox. Water actually helps the cells. It helps the organs. It detoxes and flushes out everything. There's code in water and waves. And as we drink those things, there's actually messages in the water too. I like to, I actually have this that I got for my birthday from Dana. It actually has quartz crystals in it. and then I put my water in it. And then what I do is I decree over my water, or you can just write on the bottle, love, light, whatever your intentions are. So you have the crystals with the intention, the water with the intention, or you can write on a piece of paper whatever your decrees are, and then speak over the water. And you can put your water, make sure it's glass and not plastic, on your decrees and let them sit there for a little bit. And then you drink your prayers, you drink your decrees, you drink whatever it is that you're connecting to. So, there's a lot of things with water that can recode and help you to recode. Drink your prayers, drink your decrees, drink your intentions. That's just another way of like doubling up on multiple things to be able to do that. Okay, number 6, fasting. Fasting, why? Because we're mostly water, right? So if we fast, then we're going to detox and we're going to have a clear ability to receive and exchange light, and better to receive messages from water or whatever, especially if you're water fasting and you're only drinking water, which is what I'm doing starting today. I'm doing a little bit of juicing, but mostly water over the next few days. And so when we are light and we come from light and we are light, and then we're drinking light, and we're drinking positive decrees and intentions, which is all light and love, then of course there was a better ability to receive and to connect. So really important for more clarity, for more dreams, more visions, all that stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to run through that. We've already said decrees, feelings, nature, crystals, water. Number 6 was fasting. Number 7, other people. As we talked about earlier, there's different people who have a signature code. You want to look for, because you'll draw people either way, but you're going to look for people and you'll be drawn to people who have something that connects with you, that resonates with you. And, they always say that you are like you're the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Thank God I have really amazing, loving people that I hang out with, and I'm always looking to resonate with other people who are doing things that I'm not doing yet, because I choose to be on a higher ground, higher frequency, higher plane of love, to have that resonance and that light and that frequency. If there's someone in a job situation or a career or a mother or a father, or maybe they're not even family, but there's someone that you connect with that you're like, gosh, I wish I was like that, or wish I could talk to people like that, or teach like that, or feel like that, or do what they do. You want to find those people and be around them, listen to them. And it doesn't even have to be like, hey, I'm hanging out with you every day, I'm going to follow you to the bathroom, that kind of crazy stuff. But even on reading their books and watching their videos and going on their Facebook and just learning, because you may not even understand everything they're saying, to be honest, but something in you resonates with it, and they could be saying all the words and you're just like, like, I'm not sure what she's saying, or not sure what he's saying, but I know it sounds true, it resonates with me. And then over time, like packages within your body, like Amazon came and dropped 15 packages in there, and it might be 3 days later a package opens, and a week later another package opens, and 2 weeks later another package opens, because something in their frequency triggered your truth that was already implanted and there since you were born, and it like ignited it and like imparted it, and it like activated it to, now I understand. Oh my gosh, 3 days ago I was in this meeting and now I'm sitting here and all the dots are connecting. And so it's really, really important to listen to others that you love, and that you could feel their love, and that are someone that you look up to, that are on a path that you're choosing to go on. So that's number 7. Let's see. Awake people. You will attract, you'll attract people who may be where you are or where you were. But when you find people who are awake, they will not submit to your illusion. They will not submit to your code. They'll see right past all the chaos, all the scrambling, all the garbage, all the chaos. When you find true, loving, awake, like anchor type loving people, then they will see past anything that you ever believed about yourself, and they'll just see God in you. And those are the people that I'm really finding more and more. Is I'm like, wow, everything good happens to me. I'm attracting all these people that are really positive and helping me find the keys and helping me find my way and imparting and igniting and activating and helping me be a better version of me. because that's what's happening right now. We're on this shift where we're doing it. And so Bob Jones came to me in a dream a while back, and he said, don't drink the wine. And I was like, what is that? Okay, by the way, can you tag and share this with everybody you know right now? You're thinking of 5 people right now that you need to share and tag this with. But Bob Jones said, don't drink the wine. And I was like, don't drink the wine? Okay, I actually like wine, and maybe I should stop drinking wine. Is that what you're saying? And he was like, no. He said, do not entangle with the lower frequencies. And because if you first of all, you're going to attract them, but you have a choice once you attract them to either stay with them and to connect with them and to hunker down with them, or you could be like, oh, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to shift from the inside out. I'm going to push out love and love them too for showing me, and see them as a gift and be like, oh yay, thank you for being a gift and showing me that I still don't love myself fully and I have more work to do to love me fully and honor me fully, right? Does that make sense? And so that's another one. So number 8, animals. Animals have frequency, and I have tons of videos on all the things that I'm saying if you need bite-sized pieces, but animals are very high frequency, and their job is actually to transmute our negative vibes, which we have to be really, really careful. But when I look at an animal, like I work at the shelter and I work with a lot of animals, and I have a lot of animals and I foster animals, if there's an issue going on with the animal, you always have to look back at the parents of the animal and say, what's going on with you? Because really they're just reflection of what's going on with you. And so a lot of times the animal will take on whatever dis-ease or low energy frequencies that are going on to save you, to protect you, to guard you. And so you have to be in charge. You have to help them because you did that to them. And so it's really, really important. Now, if you've ever seen cats, cats are pretty independent, but yeah, at the same time, they'll come when you're down and they'll come sit on you, on your chest, and they will do a high level frequency. 157 megahertz is what a cat is when it purrs, and that's a real high vibe. And honestly, we're 60 on a very healthy normal day, but when we get lower than that, or we get entangled in past stuff or all of those things, then we can get lower, and that opens us up to dis-ease in the body and crazy patterns in our life. Because again, everything is a mirror. We're all just reflecting out, looking out at us and going, oh yeah, I need to change that about me. Thanks for letting me know that. And so animals will come and they'll try to help you to bring that frequency up. Hey, Devonna, I know you're a foster lady. So the animals come and to kind of like transmute anything that's off. They're here and born on the planet to be guardians for us in many ways, and to kind of bring that balance back, bring that harmony back. So number 8 is animals. Number 9, breathe. Breathe, 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 breathe. You could do lots of different breathing techniques to help the system and to help recode. We're talking about recoding, and we need a bunch of reasons how we can, different ways we can recode. Breathing is really important. Number 10, creation. Writing, painting, singing, doing music, building something, decorating, cleaning up. That's a really, really big way to decode. Another one is, 12. That was number 10. 11 is nutrition. Nutrition's a big deal. Get some high vibe food in your body, y'all. Don't eat out of a box. If it doesn't have a mom, or didn't grow somewhere, then, probably shouldn't be eating it. And I'm talking to me. Drive-thrus, not going to be the most high vibe. I'm not saying I'm ever perfect for sure, but I'm telling you, it's really, really important that when we eat high-frequency food, then we're going to have a better temple for holding high resonance. Therefore, receiving high resonance and receiving good things and putting out good things. Also music, of course, whole tones and different things like that, the solfeggio tones like that. Sacred geometry is another one. Sacred geometry, like I have this on here. Let's see, like this. I have my sacred geometry. There's a lot of code in that. That's all in the plants and the animals and different things like that too. So I think I covered a lot of this. What does this say? I wrote myself a message decree. Oh, I already did that. So I hope this has helped you guys. Yeah, I think this is a lot of information. but this will help recode to get you into some new patterns. So whatever is in the past, those negative A's, can be healed and sealed up. So when we're looking into B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, and beyond, and we're putting out that offering wave for probability to create and manifest something, it'll go out past the existing. The limbic system goes, oh yeah, now that that's happened, what's new and different for me? Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing these things, I'm with these people, we're going on trips, we're going to Disneyland, we got a plane, we bought this house, we're living in so-and-so now, we have these kids, like whatever it is that you can connect with and get that imprint, that frequency imprint, and hold on to that, then your body doesn't know the difference between fake and fantasy, and it goes, oh, this already happened. Therefore, you release all the chemistry that it already happened. Your whole body goes, oh, it already happened. So therefore, my heart goes, thank God that already happened. And the code goes out into your field, it already happened. And then everything is, it already happened. And then you get a match as if it already happened. Does that make sense? And so if your past is fragmented, then it'll try to entangle in other signature codes. If your past is fragmented and unhealed, then when you put out your offering wave and the echo wave comes back, it'll try to entangle in your own past code and go, oh, and then you get this split energy and you're sending out, I want it, but I don't. 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 I want it, but I remember in the past that it didn't work. I want it, I choose it, I hope for it, I believe for it, I be alive in it, but when my dad tried to do that, that didn't work, and when my husband tried to do that, it didn't work, and when my kids tried to do that, it cancel. But what I'm saying is, if your old systems and your old code is what you're alive in and what you believe in, then when your offering wave goes out to B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the echo wave comes back, if there's a hook anywhere in the past to bring it down, then it goes away and or has no momentum. But if there's nothing back there and everything up here comes back and goes, yep, she stays, she's love, and she's still seeing past there, that code is it happened, and it happened, and it's happening, and now that it's happening, this is going on, and all these other things are going on, and there's a ripple effect, and there's a ripple effect, and there's a ripple effect, and your brain doesn't know the difference, and the chemistry happens if it's happening, and you're healed as if it's already happened, and then it goes out, then you get a match. So there you go. This is a really strong season to recode, to remind, to remember, to recalculate. Specifically tomorrow at sundown is an awesome time to really reflect, to reevaluate, to reconsider, to look within, to, they call it Yom Kippur, which is the new year. It's also the shepherd's rod if you've been following that in the past with other people. It's a great time of dreams, visions, understanding, for you to really remember who you really are, what your real purpose is. Not this, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going up, got to go to this job that I hate, cancel, doing the things that I don't like, with the people that I don't like, and this can't be all there is, right? Because there is way more to it. Something in you, even if it's 0.5%, knows there's way more than this. That the truth is, you have a true life, and you get to do your true life. When you make the choices consistently to be true, then truth comes to you. I had an encounter where a bunch of stuff happened, and this being of light came to me, and he said, tell them they're not truly living unless they're living true. And when I am true and you are true, and we're doing the things that are true to us, and the things that are true to what this planet was actually here for, which is to love and to be an expression of creativity and love and peace, and for us to remember the kingdom of God is within, and love, power, peace, presence, provision, and God is the only power acting to me, through me, in me, and around me. And, only God touches me, only God sees me, only God hears me. And I am the ascended Jesus Christ, permanent light, love, and victory, already attained in the C, B, G, all the way to Z and beyond. Then when we can stay and we're anchored in some of these real truths, then the limbic system goes, it happened. Our body goes, it happened. The heart goes out, it happened. And that biocode goes out, and we get a match, because the match lines up with what's already happened. Not what's happening, not what happened before, not happened to our friends, but what's really your truth. And so I invite you, I plead with you to take some time to remember. I've already started. I've been fasting off and on for a couple weeks. And I say off and on because some days I don't. That's my honest truth. And I got 26 bottles of juices. I got tons of awesome water on Crystal. And I am taking 3 solid days just to be by myself, alone with nature and my thoughts. I do this every year, and it's something I think everyone should do. If you can, is just go somewhere for 3 days, a week, whatever. Be with nature, be with your own thoughts, be in a place of meditation, and see, this is my birth time. And it's also Yom Kippur. And so I've done this for years where I just go and I recalibrate, remind, remember. Kind of like, this is, where are we? Where am I? Where do I choose to be? And I ask myself a lot of questions. And I recode anything that comes up. And I feel everything that needs to come up and be touched with love. And I charge. And Sage is a great clearer, by the way, which is what I'm going to give away tonight. Dreamcatcher is a great one. Abundance is a great one. I charge. And I charge with decrees. And I charge with good substance foods and music and whole tones. And again, fasting, nature, animals. Whatever your thing is, this is the time to do it right now. This is the time where we can make a true shift. And I invite all of you to do this. I invite all of you to remember and remind. And I really believe as a conscious collective group, this is really long. Okay, I went super long, like an hour and 15 minutes. If anyone's even listening anymore, I choose to know. But please, I will do some more bite size. And if this resonated with you, please go to my YouTube, because I have tons of bite-sized little things on this, and I'll have more over the next few days. As I'm getting more, I will be free and generous to give that out for all of us to partake in what's new and different for us now. Because I believe as a collective group that we can all come up higher and we can all make this a better place. I'm tuning out all not all electronics, but a lot of electronics. I'm tuning out television and programming, because I'm choosing to be in God's program right now and to hear from God and His code through His messengers, through this heart, through this mind, through Him. And I hope that I invite you to do that too during this time, and to, again, definitely tag and share, subscribe, follow, because if you follow me, if we're not, apparently there's like 5,000 people that you can be friends with on Facebook. I don't know why they limit you, but if you hit the follow button, then if we have other videos or other classes that come up, then you will be notified. So definitely hit the follow button, have other people do that. Has this been helpful to anybody? This is the first time I've ever taught all of this, and so I hope it's resonating with some of you, all of you, who this is your time and season. If it resonates with you, then this is a shifting time for you. So get some rest and sleep and hear from God tonight, hear from God in you, and let's create some new good things, okay? I love all of you from my whole heart. I vote all of your victory. I encourage all of you to just continue on this journey, and some of you I will be seeing very soon. We have a big retreat coming up, and about 100 of y'all are going to be hanging out with me in about a week, or a few days, and so you'll be hearing more from us. I love you so much. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful new year, and please leave any feedback or comments. I love your feedback. I love your questions, and I love your comments. So I know how to be a better service to you and to help maybe other topics that you guys may be having come up with questions. Please feel free to ask any questions and to make any comments or suggestions at this time, especially if they're positive. But I'll do the best I can to answer any questions that you guys have. And please feel my love. Don't just hear my words, but feel my love. I love you. Talk to you soon. You may have to listen to this a few times. I know I will. I'm probably like, what did I say? But I love you. Bye.